Judy Moody and Friends. Searching for Stinkodon. Megan MacDonald, illustrated by Erwin Madrid. Chapter 1. The Big Dig. Dirt was flying. Dirt was sailing. Dirt was exploding in every direction. Stink stopped digging. He looked at all the holes he had dug in the backyard. Swiss Cheese City. His sister, Judy, ran out into the backyard. Whoa, she said. You have dirt all over your face and in your ears and on your mouth. Are you digging your way to the other side of the world or something? Or something, Stink said with a big grin. I'm digging for a Smilodon tooth. Smilo who? Smilodon. The saber-toothed tiger. Actually, they're not tigers. They are saber-toothed cats, prehistoric mammals that prowled the earth millions of years ago. Whoa, said Judy. They had these giant curved teeth, 12 inches long. Stink clacked his teeth together, imitating the saber-toothed cat. Mega chomp! Stink, I hate to tell you this, but the chances of you finding a saber-toothed anything are I know. I know. Like 1 in a gazillion million. But 2 kids in Michigan fishing for crayfish in a backyard stream found a mastodon bone. And a girl in Great Britain found a pterosaur bone and got it named after her. It could happen. Yeah, and I could get an A+ on my spelling test, said Judy. Or ride the London Eye Ferris wheel with the Queen of England. Hardy har har, said Stink. Still, I could make the find of the century. Just think, I'll be on the cover of Science Kid magazine, and you will be Nile green with envy. Snagglepuss, said Judy, slumping her shoulders. The next day, Stink went back to digging. His best friend Webster came over and helped Stink search. They dug all day. They dug through what felt like 700 mosquito bites and 7,000 dandelion roots. At the end of day 2 of the big dig, all Stink had found was a bottle cap, a pile of acorn hats, and a 1985 penny. Webster found Judy's Where's Waldo? Glasses. On day 3 of the big dig, Judy came downstairs to breakfast. She poured a bowl of cereal. Pass the milk, Stink. Can't, said Stink. Okay. Please pass the milk, said Judy. Gone, said Stink. He held up the empty bottle. He pointed to 3 empty glasses. Stink had downed 1, 2, 3 glasses of milk in a row. Piggly Wiggly, said Judy. What's with all the milk, Stink? Milk makes you strong, said Stink. He flexed the muscle in his arm. He squeezed the muscle in his arm. I need to be strong for digging. Stink? Are you really going to dig up the backyard all summer? Come on. Let's go swimming for a change. Or start a dog walking business. We could make piles of money. That would get Stink for sure. No can do. I have to keep searching. Don't you have karate today? Karate will have to wait. Today's the day. I feel it in my bones. He started out the back door. This time, I'm not coming back inside until I find something. Judy rolled her eyes. Saber-toothed cat, here I come. Chapter 2. Sneaky Peeky. The Moody's doorbell rang. Judy answered the door. It was Stink's other best friend, Sophie of the Elves. Sophie was dressed in her karate uniform. Hey, Judy, said Sophie. Is Stink ready for karate? Judy shook her head. Come look, said Judy. She pulled Sophie over to the kitchen window. They looked out into the backyard. Stink was still out there, digging away. It's like a prairie dog town out there, said Judy. Planet of the Anthills, said Sophie. I've seen Stink hunt for Bigfoot and moon rocks and pirate treasure and asteroids, said Judy. But he's never been as cuckoo over anything like he is over this saber-toothed tiger tooth. Wow. You're right, said Sophie. Stink never misses karate. He thinks he's Indiana Jones, said Judy. Or Virginia Stink, said Sophie, giggling. Maybe he'll find a crystal skull. He says he's not stopping until he finds something. But by then the whole backyard could cave in. The house will get swallowed up in one big gulp and will fall into the center of the earth and come out through a volcano or something. Said Sophie, scratching her head. This is serious. Yes, said Judy, scratching her own head. Judy looked at Sophie. Sophie looked at Judy. We better make sure he finds something, they said at the exact same time. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Judy asked. I don't think so, said Sophie. But I can tell you have one of your crazy good ideas. I'm thinking. We put something in the backyard for Stink to find. He gets his dinosaur tooth or bone or whatever, you get your friend back, my family gets our yard back, and I get a partner for my dog walking business. It's win-win-win-win, said Sophie. Judy and Sophie snuck into Stink's room. You be the lookout, said Judy. Make sure Stink doesn't come up the stairs. Judy looked on his desk and in his toy box and under his race car bed. What exactly are we looking for? Asked Sophie. Something to bury. It has to be something that looks like a saber-toothed tiger tooth. Something that looks way old. Dinosaur old. How about a bone? Asked Sophie. All I have is my collection of wishbones, said Judy. Too flimsy, said Sophie. How about a bone from that game where you operate on Cavity Sam? Too plastic, said Judy. How about a bone like the kind a dog chews? Asked Sophie. We don't have a dog, said Judy. SHH, said Sophie. I think I hear something. Footsteps, said Judy. Hide. They ducked behind the wheel of Stink's bed. They listened. Judy's heart pounded. Silence. False alarm, said Judy. Phew, said Sophie. She peered at a picture of Stink on his dresser. In it, Stink had his head stuck through a life-size cutout of Daniel Boone. Stink was wearing a fake, fuzzy fur hat and a bear claw hung from a cord around his neck. Hey, said Sophie. How about the bear claw Stink's wearing in this picture? Great idea, said Judy. Except he lost it a while back when we were trying to break a world record for the longest human centipede. Bummer, said Sophie. You just gave me an idea. Judy inched open the top drawer of Stink's desk. Eureka, said Judy, holding up a pointy gray tooth. A shark tooth. But it's so small, said Sophie. Saber-toothed tiger teeth are this long. She grabbed a ruler and held it out in front of her. Okay, so we'll say it's a baby saber-toothed tiger tooth. Great idea, said Sophie. Now all we have to do is drop it right near where Stink is digging, said Judy. And make sure he finds it, said Sophie. For sure and absolute positive, said Judy. Judy and Sophie went out into the backyard. Stink was kneeling in the dirt, still digging. Stink, look who's here, Judy said. Great, said Stink, waving Sophie over. Grab a digger. He pointed to a pile with a shovel and a hoe and a rake and a plastic sandcastle shovel. Sophie grabbed a small orange digger with a blue handle. She picked a hole, knelt down beside it, and started digging to make it deeper. Judy slunk over to Sophie and slipped her the shark tooth. When they were sure Stink wasn't looking, Sophie dropped the tooth into the dirt where she was digging. "Hey, Stink," Judy called. "Why don't you try digging over here by Sophie? I have a good feeling about this spot. I can feel it in my bones." "Nah," said Stink. "I've already been over that section. All I found were rocks and more rocks and a squirmy worm with no head." Stink went back to digging. Judy and Sophie put their heads together and whispered. "He's never going to find it," said Judy. "What do we do?" asked Sophie. "If Stink won't come to the shark tooth, we'll have to take the shark tooth to him." Judy plucked the shark tooth out of the dirt. "Be careful," whispered Sophie. "We don't want him to suspect us." Judy strolled over to where Stink was digging. She knelt down at the edge of his hole and peered in. She pretended to search the dirt for the saber-toothed tiger tooth. As soon as Stink looked away, she dropped the shark tooth into the hole. "Sneaky peeky." Judy drifted back to Sophie of the Elves, trying not to look guilty. "I did it," she whispered. "Perfect," said Sophie. "Now, we wait." Chapter 3. Saber-toothed Surprise. Sophie went back to digging. Judy started digging in another spot. They dug. They waited. They did not have to wait long. "Eureka!" Stink cried for all the world to hear. He pawed at the dirt with both hands. "Wow! Is it by any chance a shark tooth?" called Sophie. Judy nudged her. "I mean a baby shark tooth," said Sophie. Judy elbowed her again. I mean..." Sophie stammered. "This is no baby tooth," said Stink. "This is big. Really big." Stink started to scrape the dirt off. "It's something hard, that's for sure." Stink scraped off some more dirt. "Huh," said Judy. "Huh," said Sophie. They ran over to Stink. The chunk in Stink's hand did not look like something Judy had just put in the dirt a few minutes ago. It looked like something that had been in the ground for 100 million years. How did the shark tooth get so covered in dirt? Judy wondered. Sophie wondered the same thing. "Maybe it's a bone," said Stink. "Or a fossil." "No, wait. It feels curved, like a tooth. I think it's shaped like a saber." "Whoa," said Judy. "Whoa," said Sophie. "Whoa," said Stink. "I think I found something. For real. I think it's the tip of a tooth from a million-year-old saber-toothed cat." Stink scraped off more dirt. In his hand, Stink held a 3-inch-long, curved, grayish-brown thingy that did look like a tooth, but not the one Judy and Sophie had planted. Judy and Sophie looked at it, their eyes wide. Sophie was remembering the Daniel Boone picture of Stink. Judy was remembering a human centipede, when everybody was tripping over one another and falling down and Stink lost his bear claw in the Moody backyard. "Whatever it is, it's definitely not a bear claw," said Judy. "Definitely not," said Sophie. "It doesn't look anything like a bear claw." "Just think," said Stink. "This could be, like, 1,000,000 years old." Stink turned it over and over in his hands, imagining. His mind stretched back millions of years, all the way to the time of great woolly mammoths and saber-toothed tigers. Stink hunched his shoulders and crouched like he was a tiger. "I am Smilodon, the saber-toothed cat, twice as heavy as a lion. I lurk in the forest primeval. I hide. I wait. Along comes a hairy mastodon and I, Smilodon, let out a loud roar. Gore! Rowl! Roar! Judy added. Quicker than a blink, Stink went on, sprowing. I strike and attack my prey, stabbing it with my deadly teeth. Chomp! I, Smilodon, break a tooth. Whoa, said Sophie, picturing Smilodon in Stink's place. Do you think if I put this under my pillow, the tooth fairy would come? Stink asked. The Triassic tooth fairy maybe, said Sophie. You mean Cenozoic, said Stink. Right? Sure, if you say so, said Sophie, shrugging. Maybe the Cenozoic tooth fairy will bring you million-year-old money. Or rocks, said Judy. Or maybe gold, said Stink. This is my lucky day. This is big, said Sophie. Really big. This is history, said Judy. Stink held up his discovery in the sunlight. Just think, maybe big famous scientists will name this guy after me. The Stinkodon, said Judy and Sophie at the exact same time. Stink's name would go down in history. He grinned a big, toothy grin, a smile as wide as the Smilodon's.